Hi there, hello again, the internet. It's me, I'm back again, that's right. Now, I just want to sort of cover a bit of a broader topic than previously. I've recorded a video earlier on this year which has got a lot of hits, which is all about Wing Chun and how it's not suitable for the cage. And it's got a lot of hits, a lot of comments, and that's all brilliant. It's really interesting to get everyone's opinions and you know, a lot of people drinking a lot of haterade, but that's all cool. But it did bring an idea for another video, which is on a more broad sense, sort of MMA versus traditional martial arts, and where we stand with that at the moment. Now, for the purposes of this argument, I'm going to say that MMA is what we now know it to be, e.g. UFC, Strikeforce, Cage Rage. The last sort of 30 years where it's really gained sort of mainstream prominence, it's been televised and whatnot. Now I know full well that cage fighting as it is goes way back to pancration and the Greeks and whatnot, and through Valley Judo, etc, etc, no holds barred. But I'm talking about the fact that the man on the street now knows what it is. Now the man on the street, generally speaking, and I include myself in this, is an idiot, and he has now got something called the internet, with which he can sort of spray his uninformed opinions throughout the world without any particular circumstances coming back from that. So what we've got is a situation where a lot of people think they know a lot about fighting and what works in a fight and what doesn't work in a fight, but really all they've done is watch some pay-per-views. Okay, so we take MMA, which I'm a massive fan of. I'm a huge fan of MMA, don't get me wrong. But I am a Wing Chun practitioner, and I have been for the past 12 years. I train 2-3 times a week. It's a very large part of my life. And I wouldn't do that if I didn't think it was actually useful. Now, when I say useful, I train Wing Chun to defend myself on the street in the very occasions where I might get attacked by somebody who wants to cause me damage, and I need something that's going to very quickly dispatch that attacker, and then I can move on with my life. I have no interest in entering a cage for money or to prove a point. As a lot of traditional martial artists will probably tell you, the last thing they want to do is to get into a cage because they don't have anything to prove to the MMA fan base and so on. But the real reason why we have this sort of split now, where people say, oh, you know, MMA, man, yeah, that's the future. It's somehow exposed traditional martial arts as being a big scam, and that, you know, all this show me paint fence breaking boards nonsense is a load of crap, and now we can see through all that because we've got MMA now and we don't need anything else. Well, that's bullshit. Look at what MMA is. Just what it is. It's mixed martial arts. Somebody has taken, you know, the Gracies took Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and they put it into a cage situation to make money and to showcase their schools and get more students. Very cool. And then from the back of that, people started mixing things together, and they put the wrestling in, and they put the boxing in, they put the kickboxing in, and the Thai, and the things that sort of work against each other sort of gradually leveled out. So you don't get many sumos in UFC competition, for example, but you get guys like Leo Tomashida, who comes from a karate background, or even Chuck Liddell came from a Kempo background. So, you know, so these guys, they know where they come from, but they know full well that they've got to get on the ground, they've got to be able to grapple, they've got to be able to do submission fighting, etc., etc., because that's the game that they play, that's the sport that they play. They are playing a sport. They are not training MMA to defend themselves on the street against unskilled or, you know, just drunk attackers, okay? Similarly, traditional martial artists don't train to fight against mixed martial arts fighters. They train to defend themselves against thugs in pubs and people who approach you in alley trying to get your mobile phone off you, okay? Now, the question of whether traditional martial arts would beat mixed martial arts, okay? Now, this is the thing that's come back the most in comments from my previous videos, is that the MMA fanboys lever themselves out of their couch, yeah, put on their tap-out t-shirt and start hammering the keyboard with the head wand, you know, the MMA guy would like totally slaughter you guys, you're just playing patty cake in a sports center, you know. Let's take a step back, right? Saying, oh, an MMA guy will beat a Wing Chun guy, or an MMA guy will beat a Krav Maga guy, or a Sistema guy, or anybody else, or a karate guy, or a high-level, you know, Tai Chi practitioner, is just shit. It's a naive, puerile, juvenile way of looking at things. It's equivalent of having a conversation like, who'd win out of a fight, Batman or Spider-Man. It's exactly that same level of ignorant thought that comes from nowhere. It's bullshit, right? I'll tell you who's going to win in a fight between a Wing Chun guy and a mixed martial artist. I'll tell you right now. The better fighter will win, okay? The better individual. The guy who has trained harder, the guy who has more natural talent, the guy who has more fighting spirit, the guy who's more brutal, you know, the guy who's a psychopath, the guy who gets lucky, the guy who doesn't fall over backwards and crack his head open on a curb. A real life fight, okay, isn't scored on points. There are no judges standing by to give you ticks and crosses. There's not a referee to pull you off when you win that submission and the guy taps, yeah? In a street fight, the person who survives is the person who wins. And whether that's through running away, he still won. He won that fight because he's not dead. Yeah? So think about it this way. A cage fight for money with a referee and a judge is a different situation to the street. Okay? Now you might say BJJ has proven that it's useful in MMA, which it is. It's fantastic and it wins a lot of fights for a lot of people. But if you use pure BJJ on the street, chances are you're going to get your head kicked in because chances are you're going to be attacked by more than one person at once. So striking arts, I think arguably, would be more useful in the first instance. I'm not saying that exclusively, that they would be, you know, superior. But what I am saying is, on the street, you might get into a striking battle in the first instance, okay? So that's why I personally decided to choose a striking art, because I'm not interested in testing my skills against other martial artists, really. To be honest, I'm interested in testing my skills against other Wing Chun people because it's much more easy to tell how good I am compared to the people using the same techniques. But, you know, would I want to fight a Thai boxer? Not really. Would he want to fight me? Don't know. Yeah. Which Thai boxer? Would I beat him? Depends. Has he got one leg or two? You know, show me the person, give me his name, give me his background, yeah? Let me meet the guy and talk to him. And then we'll be in a better position to say. But you can't say one art is better than another art. So you can't say that mixed martial arts is better or worse than an art. It's completely ridiculous. If you actually sit back and think about it, don't even ask the question. Yeah. So if you're thinking of commenting on this video and saying, "Oh, Wing Chun shit," you know, an MMA guy would slaughter you in the street and he'd slaughter you in the cage, don't even bother pressing the keys down, okay? Because you're wasting your time, and you're wasting my time, because we've been through this many, many times, and you're just not thinking on a level that attaches itself to reality in either way. Okay? So to wrap up, yeah, MMA, traditional martial arts, serve different purposes. Okay? An MMA guy will probably do pretty well on the street because he can fight, and he can punch, and he can kick, and he can take a punch, and he can take a kick. Yeah. Good on him. Yeah? Props. Yeah? That's fantastic. So if you want to train MMA to defend yourself on the street, then do it. You'll probably do really well, and it'd be much better than knowing nothing. Yeah? But the chances are, you know, if you train a traditional martial art and you trained hard and you trained well, it would be extremely useful to you in a street situation. If you're a black belt in karate and you want to go in the cage, that's your lookout, but you're going to be up against somebody who's going to want to take you down to the ground, and at that point you're going to need to know more stuff. Okay? You might get taken down in the street, in which case, you know, you need to get back up. Okay, now whether you can do that or not depends upon you, and the other guy, and all the other surrounding factors. How many of his mates are kicking you in the back of the head, you know, and what weapons they happen to have in their pocket. All bets are off. Everything is random. Nothing is guaranteed. Okay, so just think a little bit. Okay, traditional martial arts have a fantastic heritage. That you know, people train traditional martial arts for a variety of reasons, and they're all very valid. So don't discount them, and don't discount traditional martial artists either, because every one of them is an individual with a different mindset, different ability to fight, different fighting instincts, and so it's all very relevant. Okay, so let's stop this MMA versus TMA shit. It's old and it's dull. Okay, that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye.